Hey guys, what's happening? Jay here. This is smarthelping.com. We've got a template for quoting jobs where you're installing cabinets. So a cabinet estimator. We've got pretty clear instructions here, explanation of the formulas, the actual estimator where you're inputting data about the different types of cabinets you're installing and their sizes. Then we'll have an automatic invoice create, which simply, as you enter the types of cabinets you're doing and the quantity, the total will update here and you get a total price. This is all printable, already formatted, so it's good to go. Now, if we get into some of the calculations here, column A on the estimator tab, all you're doing is, so each row represents a type of cabinet. And then the invoice is going to allow you to do the quantity of each type here. Um, and actually, this should be, yeah, and if column A is blank, then it'll clear out the row here as well as the invoice row. And what you'll do when you're using this is you just have this base template, and every time you go to do a new estimate, you go to this template, hit File, Save As, and just call it something else, estimate XX for whoever's last name or job type or job name. And then you always come back to the main one, fill out your data, save it as something else. So you can always reference this every time you create a new estimate. And all we're doing here, it allows you to get everything kind of in front of you so you can see how many cabinets you're doing, what is their size, so height, width, depth, number of shelves, and then it will calculate the total material square foot. This is assuming there's one door on the front. And you'll see the calculation is basically doing two pieces of board or two pieces for the top and bottom, the sides, and then the door, and then the number of shelves. So it's pretty simple. Um, Now for the parameters, this is where you actually define your average material cost per square foot, which could vary for a given job. So you'll put that in there. Your labor hour rate you have to pay per hour, or that you're charging per hour. Hinge cost, handle cost, base labor hours per cabinet. So that's on top of the number of shelves, and then you've got labor hours per shelf. The amount of hinges per door and handles per door, and then the door cost. And all that goes into, and this is the door cost of each cabinet. And all that goes into this estimator. The input columns are A through E. Your formulas are F through N. Shows all the calculations. The total here in column N is actually going to be your price per unit that comes into the invoice. And then your line item total is just going to multiply that unit total, so amount per cabinet times quantity of cabinets of that type. You got a nice total here. I don't know if you guys can see, but if I go to print this, it gives me a nice format. This is what the invoice would look like. Just pretty simple, straightforward. Not much can go wrong here. Just you don't want to delete rows or add rows. This is just based on you have a default of 20 potential cabinet types. The invoice is going to reference those dynamically. Now, I guess if you're saving this as a new Excel spreadsheet, not your base template, and you don't want to show all these rows on your invoice, you can delete them. That's fine. Just make sure your base template that you're always going back to, you have not deleted anything. um, and that's pretty much it. The totals up here are just totaling like your total square foot labor hours, hinges, handles. These don't make sense to total here because you could have different quantities of each row, so it doesn't really make sense to total this here at the top. What else? If you clear these out, like I said, that clears out the row on the invoice. You'll manually be typing in data here in the quantity. So if I put this to 3, that changes or what have you. But the input here is only the quantity. The description and the unit price and line total are all automated. and it's just following the exact rows going down here. And that's why the order matters, so you don't want to mess up the rows by, you don't want to like move a row up, like grab it and move it up like that. That'll mess up some things. But just simply input your data going down here every time you have a new job, and it's pretty easy. If you want it manually, again, if you're not on the base, if you're on a new version of it and you want to put in a manual item here, you could always just put quantity and describe it, the quantity, unit price, and the total. You would just manually put in the unit price here. For example, other thing, and maybe one of those, and maybe unit price of whatever. So you can override this, but just know when you do override it, you now have lost the formulas that reference the estimator tab. Let me undo that. So yeah, it's pretty simple, pretty easy flow for a cabinet estimator. I mean, anybody could use this. You just put in your dimensions, cabinet name, and A through E. Fill out the parameters here. Now, what you'll want to do if there's material cost per square foot. Yeah, I mean this works for most scenarios. If you do need custom work, I can work on things for my billable rate, which you can check out at smarthelping.com. As for this template itself, the link is in the description to download it, and it will be listed on smarthelping.com, obviously, which is over here. And I will put that in the accounting templates. I think it's the best place to put it. Well, actually, yeah, I'll put it in the accounting templates bundle, probably under other helpful templates. But I'm also going to put it in the industry specific here. Even though it's not a full financial model, like normally I do like 5-year, 10-year financial models with revenue and expenses and all that, but I do also one-time, templates like this here today. So that would be probably services or maybe retail. I'll figure out what section to put it in. Then you can always just search for it here. It'll probably be listed under, cabinet estimator. Let me actually define it here so you know. I think I'm going to put it in the... I think I'll put it under probably services. Let me just see if there's anything else. No, maybe we'll put at the bottom other general industry financial models and cabinet estimator. So it'll be right at the bottom there. Obviously, it's also included in the Super Smart bundle, which if you go down here to the right side of the sidebar, Super Smart bundle, this includes all the templates on the entire site and access to everything I build in the future. So it's a pretty good deal. There's over 200 Excel spreadsheets included in that now, and there's a lot of helpful information that you can get and learn, and also just ready to use for all kinds of different projects. Mostly startup financial modeling, cash flow planning. I've done many industries, financial models, a lot of focus on SaaS, a lot of focus on real estate, joint venture deals if you're doing partnerships with hurdles or preferred returns, preferred equity, business valuation, accounting templates, and all sorts of things. If you do want to hire me, it's $275 an hour. Usually I'm available within a day or two, and it usually takes about a day or two for a turnaround. Sometimes I can do same date, depends if I'm busy or not. And note that the new option, if you do use PayPal, this allows you to pay in installment payments rather than all up front, which might be helpful as well. Alrighty, that's all I got for you on this one. Like and subscribe. See you on the next one.